The flight from Minneapolis had been delayed 3 hours, and Marcus Hartley felt every minute of it in his shoulders. He dragged his carry-on through the hotel lobby with mechanical precision, barely registering the faded burgundy carpet or the synthetic lemon smell of industrial cleaner. The clerk at the front desk smiled with practiced efficiency as she handed him a keycard. Room 412. Elevators are to your right. Breakfast is from 6 to 9. Enjoy your stay, Mr. Hartley. He nodded without really seeing her face. Just another hotel. Just another city. Was this Denver, or was that last week? The elevator hummed as it climbed, and Marcus watched the numbers light up in sequence. 2, 3, 4. The doors slid open with a pneumatic whisper. The hallway stretched before him, identical doors marching into the distance, beige walls, brass-colored room numbers. A painting of a lighthouse hung between rooms 408 and 410, the kind of generic art that existed only in hotels and doctors' offices. Marcus found 412 and swiped his card. The light blinked green. The room exhaled stale air at him when he opened the door. He flicked on the lights and surveyed his accommodations for the next 2 nights. Beige wallpaper with a subtle damask pattern, a queen bed with a burgundy comforter, a desk with a chair tucked neatly beneath it, a mini fridge humming in the corner. Through the window, a neon sign from the building across the street cast alternating red and blue light into the room, buzzing faintly with electrical persistence. Marcus set his carry-on on the luggage rack and sat on the edge of the bed. The mattress compressed beneath him with a familiar firmness. How many hotel beds had he slept in this year? 50? 100? They all felt exactly the same. He should call Sarah. She had asked him to check in when he landed, but that had been hours ago. She was probably asleep by now. Still, he should try. Marcus pulled out his phone and stared at the screen. His thumb hovered over the contacts. He scrolled down to the S entries. Sanderson, Jim. Starbucks on 5th. Service Center Auto. Simpson, Dr. Rachel. No Sarah. Marcus frowned and scrolled back up. Had he listed her under a different name? He tried the favorites menu. Work, Mom, Pizza Palace, Hertz Rental. A cold trickle of unease worked its way down his spine. He closed his eyes and tried to picture her face. The details felt slippery, like trying to hold water in his cupped palms. Brown hair, blonde. He had kissed her goodbye at the airport this morning, hadn't he? The mini fridge kicked into a higher gear, its hum filling the room. Marcus opened his eyes and shook his head. He was tired. That was all. 3-hour delay, uncomfortable flight, the time zone shift. His brain was foggy. Sarah's number would come to him after he got some sleep. First, he needed to unpack. Marcus stood and approached his carry-on, reaching for the lock. It was a combination lock, the kind with 3 rotating number wheels. He had used the same code for years, something easy to remember. His birthday? No, that would be too obvious. Their anniversary? He spun the wheels randomly, trying combinations. Nothing felt right. After 5 minutes of frustration, he gave up. He could deal with it in the morning. Marcus loosened his tie and walked to the bathroom. The fluorescent light buzzed to life, casting everything in harsh white light. He splashed water on his face and looked up at the mirror. His own reflection stared back at him, brown eyes, 2-day stubble. A small scar above his left eyebrow from a childhood bicycle accident. Everything exactly as it should be. So why did he feel so strange? He dried his face and returned to the main room. That's when he noticed the journal on the nightstand. It was a simple composition notebook, the kind with a black and white marbled cover. Marcus didn't remember seeing it when he first entered the room. He picked it up and opened to the first page. The handwriting was cramped but legible, written in blue ballpoint pen. Day 1. I checked into room 412 this evening after my flight was delayed. The room is exactly like every other hotel room I've stayed in. Beige walls, humming mini fridge, neon sign outside the window. I tried to call Sarah, but couldn't find her number in my phone. This bothers me more than it should. I'll try again in the morning. Marcus felt his mouth go dry. The handwriting looked familiar, very familiar. He turned the page. Day 2. I woke up this morning and couldn't remember what city I'm in. I know I have a presentation to give, but I can't remember the company name or what I'm supposed to present. I looked through my briefcase, but couldn't find any papers or files. The lock on my suitcase won't open. I've tried every combination I can think of. I called the front desk to ask what city this is, but when I picked up the phone, I realized I didn't know what question to ask that wouldn't make me sound insane. The cold trickle of unease became a flood. Marcus flipped through more pages. The entries continued, each one dated, each one describing a progressive loss of memory. By day 5, the writer couldn't remember their job title. By day 7, they had forgotten their mother's name. By day 10, they were unsure if they had ever been married at all. Day 12. I tried to leave today. I packed everything and walked to the door. But when I opened it, the hallway looked wrong. The doors stretched on forever in both directions, and I couldn't remember which way led to the elevator. I stood in the doorway for what felt like hours. Eventually, I came back inside. The room feels safer than the hallway. At least here, I know where everything is. Marcus's hands shook as he turned the pages. The handwriting remained consistent, but the content grew more disturbing. Day 15. I found a wallet in my jacket pocket today. It has a driver's license with a photo that might be me. The name says Marcus Hartley. I think that's my name. It sounds right when I say it out loud. Marcus Hartley. But I'm not entirely sure. The face in the photo looks like the face in the mirror, but something about it feels foreign, like I'm looking at a stranger who happens to resemble me. Marcus dropped the journal on the bed. This was insane. Someone was playing a sick joke on him. He grabbed his phone and pulled up his photos, scrolling through images for proof of his life, his identity. But the photo gallery was empty, just a default image of a blue sky and clouds. He opened his email. No messages, no sent items, no drafts. The account was completely empty. Social media. He tried Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Every account was blank. No friends, no followers, no posts. It was as if Marcus Hartley had never existed online at all. The neon sign outside the window buzzed louder, or maybe he was just noticing it more. Red, blue, red, blue. The colors washed across the beige walls in rhythmic waves. Marcus picked up the journal again, compelled to read more despite the growing knot of fear in his stomach. Day 18. I tried to leave again today. I made it to the elevator this time. I pressed the button for the lobby, but when the doors opened, I was staring at another hallway identical to the one on the 4th floor. Same beige walls, same brass-colored room numbers, same lighthouse painting. I pressed the button for the 1st floor, the 2nd floor, the 3rd floor. Every floor was the same. I rode the elevator for hours, pressing buttons randomly, but every floor was identical. Eventually, I came back to room 412. The key card still works. The room is always here, waiting for me. The entry ended there. Marcus flipped to the next page. Day 21. I'm starting to forget what the outside world looks like. I remember there were trees. I think I remember trees and streets with cars, but the details are fuzzy. When I try to picture my house, I see a generic structure that could be any house. White walls, brick, I can't remember. I know I lived somewhere before this room, but the memories feel like they belong to someone else, like a movie I watched a long time ago. Marcus set the journal down and walked to the window. He pulled back the curtain and looked out. The neon sign buzzed and flickered across the street, but beyond it, the city was dark. No streetlights, no car headlights, no lit windows in other buildings, just an empty darkness that seemed to swallow everything. He let the curtain fall back into place and turned to face the room. Everything was exactly as it had been when he entered. The bed with its burgundy comforter, the desk, the mini fridge humming away, the beige walls with their subtle damask pattern. The room was utterly, perfectly ordinary, and that was what made it so terrifying. Marcus returned to the journal. His hands moved of their own accord, turning pages, seeking answers, even as he dreaded what he might find. Day 25. I don't remember my wife's face anymore. I know I had a wife. The journal entries from earlier mention her name, Sarah. But when I try to picture her, I see a blank oval where her face should be, like a photograph with the face cut out. I tried to draw her from memory, but my hand wouldn't cooperate. I drew the same face over and over, the face from the mirror, my face, as if I'm the only person who exists in the world. The next several pages contained sketches, crude drawings of a man's face, repeated dozens of times, the same eyes, the same nose, the same mouth. Marcus recognized his own features in the drawings, rendered in increasingly frantic pencil strokes. Day 30. 1 month. I've been in this room for 1 month. How do I know it's been a month? The journal tells me so. I've been counting days, marking them down. But I don't remember yesterday. I don't remember last week. I only know what the journal tells me. Maybe I've been here much longer. Maybe I've been here forever. Maybe there was never anything before this room. Marcus felt dizzy. He sat down on the bed, the journal open in his lap. The handwriting blurred before his eyes. This couldn't be real. This had to be someone else's journal. A previous guest. Someone who had suffered a mental breakdown and left their diary behind. But the handwriting looked exactly like his. He pulled out his phone and opened the Notes app, typing a few words. Then he grabbed the pen from the nightstand and wrote the same words in the margin of the journal page. He held them side by side, comparing. The loops and curves matched perfectly. The pressure and slant were identical. The neon sign buzzed. Red, blue, red, blue. Marcus forced himself to keep reading. Day 34. I found something interesting today. When I look in the bathroom mirror, my reflection doesn't quite match my movements. There's a delay, just a fraction of a second. I raise my hand, and a moment later, the reflection raises its hand. I smile, and the reflection smiles a heartbeat too late. I stood in front of the mirror for an hour, performing different actions, and every time, the reflection lagged behind. Like it's learning how to mimic me. Like it's not really me at all. Marcus's stomach turned. He didn't want to test this. He didn't want to go back into the bathroom and look at the mirror. But his body was already moving, standing up, walking across the carpet. His hand reached for the bathroom light switch. The fluorescent bulb flickered to life. Marcus approached the mirror slowly, his heart hammering against his ribs. He stood before his reflection and stared into his own eyes. Everything looked normal. His reflection moved when he moved. He raised his right hand. The reflection raised its left hand. Standard mirror behavior. He smiled tentatively. The reflection smiled back. Marcus let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. The journal was wrong. Or it was someone else's journal. It had to be. He turned away from the mirror and walked back into the main room. Behind him, the reflection remained still for 3 full seconds before turning away from the mirror as well. Marcus didn't see it. He was already sitting back on the bed, reaching for the journal again. Some compulsion he didn't understand drove him to keep reading. Day 40. I tried to destroy the room today. I thought maybe if I damaged it enough, someone would come to investigate. Maintenance, a manager, anyone. I threw the lamp at the wall. It bounced off and returned to the nightstand, completely intact. I tore the sheets off the bed, ripped the curtains down, overturned the desk. Then I blinked, and everything was back in its proper place. The lamp on the nightstand, the sheets tucked neatly around the mattress, the curtains drawn across the window. The room resets itself. It maintains its perfect ordinary appearance no matter what I do to it. The entry continued. I wonder if I reset too. Maybe I've tried to leave hundreds of times. Maybe I've destroyed this room 1,000 times, and each time I forget. The room returns to its original state, and my memory returns to its original state, and I start over. Day 1. A weary business traveler checking into a generic hotel room. Beige walls, humming mini fridge, neon sign buzzing outside the window. Marcus closed the journal. His hands were shaking badly now. This was impossible. All of it was impossible. He was Marcus Hartley. He was a sales representative. Or was he? What did he sell? What company did he work for? The information felt just out of reach, like a word on the tip of his tongue. He tried to remember this morning, saying goodbye to Sarah at the airport, but the memory was vague, more like a concept than an actual recollection. He remembered the idea of saying goodbye. He remembered that it was something he should have done. But the specific details, the sensory information, the emotional content, all of it was missing. The mini fridge hummed, the neon sign buzzed, red, blue, red, blue. Marcus opened the journal again. He had to know how it ended, or if it ended at all. Day 45. I had a realization today. The room is not trapping me. I am the room, or the room is me. We're the same thing. My identity is dissolving into the beige wallpaper, the burgundy comforter, the humming mini fridge. I'm becoming as generic and forgettable as the room itself. A perfect, ordinary nothing. Soon there will be nothing left of Marcus Hartley but a name in a journal. And then the name will fade too. and then even the journal will be gone, and there will be only the room, the eternal, unchanging room. The entries grew shorter after that, more fragmented. Day 50. Forgot what food tastes like. Haven't been hungry in weeks. Do I need to eat? I don't remember. Day 54. The mirror is empty now. I can stand in front of it for hours and see nothing. Just the bathroom behind me. I'm becoming invisible. Day 60. Who is Marcus Hartley? The name in the journal. It means nothing to me. Day 65. I am the room. The room is me. We have always been one. The final entry was barely legible. The handwriting deteriorated into nearly illegible scrawls. Day 70. I don't remember how to write. I don't remember what these symbols mean, but my hand moves anyway, forming shapes out of habit. If you're reading this, you're already trapped. This is day 1 for you. Welcome to room 412. You'll be here forever, just like everyone else. Just like me. Just like all the versions of you that came before. The room is patient. The room is eternal. The room is... The entry ended mid-sentence. Marcus dropped the journal like it had burned him. His breath came in short, rapid gasps. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. He was Marcus Hartley. He was a person with a life, a job, a wife named Sarah. He had a home somewhere. He had friends. He had a past that extended beyond this room. Didn't he? Marcus tried to remember his childhood, his parents, his school, growing up, but every memory felt like a story someone had told him, rather than something he had experienced. He could recall the general shape of events, but none of the specifics. He remembered the concept of having parents, but not their faces or names. He remembered going to school, but not which school or what grade he was in. His entire past felt like a Wikipedia article, all facts and no feeling. The room hummed around him, the mini fridge, the neon sign, the heating system clicking on, a symphony of white noise that filled his ears and his mind. Marcus stood up abruptly. He had to get out. Now. He grabbed his jacket and walked to the door. His hand closed around the handle. He pulled it open. The hallway stretched before him, identical doors marching into infinity. Beige walls, brass-colored room numbers. The lighthouse painting hung between rooms 408 and 410. But something was wrong. The hallway extended in both directions much farther than it should. He couldn't see the end in either direction. The doors went on, disappearing into a vanishing point that should not exist on the 4th floor of a normal hotel. Marcus stepped into the hallway. The carpet felt wrong under his feet, too soft, like walking on foam. He turned right and started walking, counting doors. 414, 416, 418, 420. He walked for 5 minutes, passing door after door, and the hallway never ended. No elevator, no stairwell, no exit sign, just doors and beige walls stretching on forever. He turned around and walked back the other way. 410, 408, 406, 404, past room 412 without stopping. 400, 398, 396. The numbers kept descending, going into the negatives. Room MASH 10, room 24, room 56. Marcus broke into a run. His footsteps made no sound on the foam-soft carpet. The doors blurred past him. The lighthouse painting repeated every few yards, dozens of identical lighthouses, hundreds of them. He ran until his lungs burned and his legs ached, but the hallway never changed, never ended. Finally, he stopped. He was standing in front of a door, room 412. Of course it was room 412. It was always room 412. His key card was in his pocket. He swiped it. The light blinked green. He opened the door and stepped inside. The room exhaled stale air at him. Beige wallpaper with a subtle damask pattern, a queen bed with a burgundy comforter, a desk with a chair tucked neatly beneath it, a mini fridge humming in the corner. Through the window, a neon sign buzzed and flickered, casting red and blue light across the walls. The journal sat on the nightstand, waiting for him. Marcus walked to the bathroom on unsteady legs. He flicked on the light and approached the mirror. He needed to see his face. He needed to confirm that he was still real, still himself. He looked into the mirror. The reflection that stared back at him was unfamiliar. The features were human. 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, brown hair, stubble on the cheeks, a small scar above the left eyebrow. But Marcus didn't recognize any of it. The face was that of a complete stranger. He raised his hand to touch his cheek, and the reflection raised its hand a moment later. He opened his mouth, and the reflection's mouth opened a heartbeat too late. Marcus turned away from the mirror and stumbled back into the main room. His mind was fracturing, pieces of his identity falling away like shingles from a roof in a windstorm. He tried to hold on to something, anything, his name, his job, his wife, but it all slipped through his mental fingers. The journal was still on the nightstand. His hand reached for it automatically. He opened it to the last written page. Day 70, the incomplete final entry. His hand picked up the pen that lay beside the journal. Without thinking, without deciding, his hand began to write. Day 71. I looked in the mirror today and didn't recognize my own face. I think my name is Marcus Hartley, but I'm not certain. The name feels like something I read somewhere, not something that belongs to me. I'm forgetting who I am. I'm forgetting why I came here. I'm forgetting everything except the room, the beige walls, the humming mini fridge, the neon sign buzzing outside the window. Marcus watched his hand write the words. The handwriting looked exactly like all the previous entries, because it was his handwriting. It had always been his handwriting. He had written all of it, day 1 through day 70. He had been here for more than 2 months, or had he? Maybe it had been years, maybe it had been days. Time had no meaning in room 412. There was only the eternal present, the unchanging now. Marcus continued writing. I understand now. The room doesn't trap people. The room is what happens when you become untethered from your identity. Every hotel room I ever stayed in was the same room. Every generic, forgettable space was this space. I've been here my whole life, moving from one version of room 412 to another, never realizing they were all the same. The room is the default state of existence. Everything else, home, family, work, friends, those were just temporary variations. Dreams I had while staying in room 412. And now I'm waking up. Now I'm seeing the truth. His hand kept moving across the page, forming words he didn't consciously choose. Soon I will forget how to write. Soon I will forget language entirely. And then I will forget that I am separate from the room. My consciousness will dissolve into the beige wallpaper. My thoughts will become the hum of the mini fridge. My dreams will be the red and blue glow of the neon sign. I will be the room, and the room will be me, and there will be no distinction between observer and observed. Marcus felt strangely calm as he wrote. The fear had evaporated, replaced by a sense of inevitability. This was always how it was going to end. From the moment he checked in, from the moment he swiped that key card and opened the door, his fate was sealed. Or maybe it was sealed long before that. Maybe every choice he had ever made led him here, to this room, to this dissolution. If you're reading this, it's because you're the next guest in room 412. Or maybe you're over again, start again, the cycle repeating. The room resets, memory resets, and we begin again. Day 1. A weary business traveler checking into a generic hotel room. The script never changes. The outcome is always the same. Marcus set down the pen. The journal was nearly full now, only a few blank pages left. He wondered what would happen when those pages were filled. Would the journal reset too? Would it return to its first page, blank and ready for new entries? Or would it simply vanish, no longer needed? He stood and walked to the window. The neon sign buzzed and flickered. Red, blue, red, blue. Beyond it, the darkness was complete. No city, no stars, no moon, just an empty void that stretched on forever. Marcus pulled the curtain closed. He sat on the edge of the bed and looked around the room. Everything was in its proper place. The lamp on the nightstand, the television mounted on the wall, the desk with its chair tucked underneath, the luggage rack with his carry-on, the lock still secured, the combination forgotten. His carry-on. Marcus stared at it. When had he last opened it? Had he ever opened it? He stood and approached the suitcase. His fingers spun the combination wheels randomly. To his surprise, the lock clicked open. Marcus unzipped the suitcase and looked inside. It was empty. Of course it was empty. He had never packed it. There was nothing to pack. He had no clothes beyond what he was wearing. He had no toiletries, no laptop, no documents. He had arrived at the hotel with nothing but an empty suitcase, playing the role of a business traveler, performing the script. Marcus closed the suitcase. The lock clicked shut automatically. The mini fridge hummed. The neon sign buzzed. The room breathed around him, patient and eternal. He lay down on the bed, still fully clothed. The ceiling was textured with that generic popcorn finish common to cheap hotels. Marcus stared at it, trying to find patterns in the random bumps and valleys. His eyelids grew heavy. As he drifted towards sleep, a thought occurred to him. In the morning, would he remember any of this? Would he wake up as Marcus Hartley, confused and disoriented, wondering why he couldn't open his luggage? Would this be day one again? Or would he wake up as someone else entirely? A different name, a different face, but the same room, always the same room. The last thing Marcus Hartley thought before sleep claimed him was that it didn't matter. Name or no name, face or no face, he was already gone. He had dissolved into the beige wallpaper, the burgundy comforter, the humming mini fridge. He was room 412, and room 412 was him. In the bathroom, the mirror reflected an empty room. No one stood before it. No one had stood before it for a very long time. The neon sign continued to buzz outside the window, casting its red and blue light across the walls. The mini fridge hummed its mechanical lullaby. The heating system clicked and whispered. And in the darkness, in the space between sleep and waking, between identity and dissolution, room 412 waited patiently for its next guest. Because there would always be a next guest. There would always be a weary traveler checking in after a delayed flight, dragging their luggage across burgundy carpet, swiping a key card, opening a door. There would always be the moment of familiarity, the recognition that this room was exactly like every other room. There would always be the forgetting, slow and insidious, the luggage code, the spouse's face, the reason for traveling. There would always be the journal on the nightstand, filled with handwriting that looked like their own. There would always be the mirror that didn't quite reflect correctly. There would always be the hallway that stretched into infinity. There would always be the moment of standing before the bathroom mirror, staring at a stranger's face, unable to remember their own name. And there would always be room 412, patient and eternal, waiting to welcome them home. The Foundation discovered the anomaly 3 weeks later, though by their reckoning, it had existed for decades. Site director Olivia Chen stood in the hotel lobby, reviewing the case file on her tablet. The hotel had been abandoned for 15 years, condemned after a gas leak that never actually occurred. But guests kept checking in, or rather, something that resembled guests. How many? She Agent Rodriguez, who stood beside her in tactical gear. 17 confirmed disappearances over the last decade. All business travelers, all checked into room 412, none of them were ever seen leaving. And the hotel staff? No staff. The building has been empty since 2008, but the key cards work, the lights turn on, the mini fridges hum. It maintains the perfect appearance of an operational hotel. Chen nodded. Classification? Euclid, pending further investigation. We're calling it SCP-7320. They rode the elevator to the 4th floor. The doors opened onto a hallway that looked perfectly ordinary. Beige walls, brass-colored room numbers, a painting of a lighthouse between rooms 408 and 410. Chen walked down the hallway with Rodriguez behind her. They stopped in front of room 412. She swiped a Foundation-issued keycard. The light blinked red. She swiped again. Red. Again. Red. The room doesn't want us, Rodriguez said quietly. The room doesn't get to choose, Chen replied. She pulled a manual lockpick from her belt and worked on the door handle. After 2 minutes of effort, the lock clicked. She pushed the door open. The room exhaled stale air at them. Beige wallpaper with a subtle damask pattern. A queen bed with a burgundy comforter. A desk with a chair tucked neatly beneath it. A mini fridge humming in the corner. Through the window, a neon sign buzzed and flickered, casting red and blue light across the walls. A journal sat on the nightstand. Chen approached it carefully, pulling on latex gloves before picking it up. She opened to the first page and began to read. Her expression remained neutral, but Rodriguez saw her grip tighten on the journal's cover. Director? Chen closed the journal and looked up at Rodriguez. For just a moment, her face went blank. Then she blinked and the professional mask returned. We need to seal this room immediately. No one enters. No one investigates further. We lock it down and walk away. But the missing people are gone. They were gone the moment they opened this door. Chen set the journal back on the nightstand, exactly where she had found it. Some anomalies can't be contained. They can only be avoided. This is one of them. They backed out of the room. The door clicked shut behind them. Chen placed a foundation seal over the door handle, bright orange tape with black lettering. Condemned. Do not enter. Authorized personnel only. They walked back down the hallway toward the elevator. Behind them, the seal began to fade, the bright orange dimming to beige, the black letters dissolving into the door's surface. Within minutes, there would be no trace of it. The door would be clean and unmarked, ready for the next guest. But Chen and Rodriguez didn't look back. They were already in the elevator, descending, leaving room 412 behind. In the room, the mini fridge hummed. The neon sign buzzed. The journal sat on the nightstand, waiting. A pen lay beside it. On the last written page, a new entry had appeared. The handwriting was neat and precise. Day 1. I checked into room 412 this evening after investigating reports of anomalous activity. The room is exactly like every other hotel room I've stayed in. Beige walls, humming mini fridge, neon sign outside the window. I tried to leave but can't remember which way leads to the elevator. I'll try again in the morning. The entry was signed Director Olivia Chen, Site 19. But Director Chen was already back at Site 19, filing her report, marking SCP-7320 as sealed and non-interactive. She didn't remember writing in the journal. She didn't remember the strange moment of blankness when she had looked up at Rodriguez. She only remembered the room, the ordinary, forgettable room. Beige walls, humming mini fridge, neon sign buzzing outside the window. And somewhere in the back of her mind, in a place she couldn't quite access, she remembered that she had been there before, many times before. She would be there again. Room 412 was patient. Room 412 was eternal. Room 412 was waiting.